Hello, everyone. Good. Good to see all of you. I hope you can hear me well, see me well. Like my new glasses. I can see you all better now. Okay, so we have Melissa. Melissa is going to share a bhajan with us.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your love, it is a miracle? How deep we are connected to our souls. How could anyone ever tell you you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you're less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your love, it is a miracle? How deep we are connected to our soul. How could anyone ever tell you you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you're less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your love, it is a miracle? How deep we are connected to our soul. How could anyone ever tell you you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you're less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your love, it is a miracle? How deep we are connected to our soul. How could anyone ever tell you you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you're less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your love, it is a miracle? How deep we are connected to our soul. How deep we are connected to our soul.
Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. Everyone's seeming very headless today. But don't evaluate how headless you are. See, our mind is just an underestimation of our presence. Whatever you can estimate in your mind about your being, about your presence, that consciousness, that Atma, can never match its reality. So whatever you take yourself to be, you are bigger than that. And you can't meet what I'm saying through an idea that you have. See, that's why the mind, we are always picking on the mind. Sometimes I get this complaint, Father, why are you always picking on the mind? Isn't the mind also consciousness? It is consciousness, but it's representations. So if you have a Picasso in front of you and instead you have a representation of a nursery, kindergarten cartoon, and then that is, somebody says, okay, this is the Picasso. You're not going to believe it. Doesn't mean you have to hate it. You cannot take your reality to be that limited as the mind represents. And any conceptual representation of you is not worthy of you. You see? So whatever you can try and understand about yourself is not it. It's too small for you. You are the magnificent ocean. The representation is that of a wave, or not even a wave, a droplet. Then how are you meant to accept this falseness as your original reality? It is impossible. And because it is impossible, that is why you seem to suffer when you take that limited representation to be true. Headlessly, what is your shape? Headlessly, where do you start? What is your end? Any of these pointers, don't do them selfishly. Okay? Don't do them selfishly only means don't try to excel at it. Don't try to make something out of it. Just follow with the innocence of a child. If you're not understanding, don't understand. Let the words explode for you. You just be here and allow everything to unfold on its own. Now, without a concept, what are you? Do you have a beginning? Do you have a problem? Can you describe your life situation? That is your favorite hobby. That is our favorite hobby. But it is not real. It is not true. It is your hobby, and actually it's more of a compulsion than a hobby. It's more of an addiction than a hobby. Because you feel like unless I'm able to determine how things are right now, how can I plan for my next move? You have no story right now. Okay? None of you have any story right now. Now, what's your next move? What should you do? What do you want? Where should you go? And these seem like fundamental questions that you have to answer. But to answer these, you need that subtext of my current situation. What is my description of what is true about me right now? Only then I can plan the next move. So this is our addiction, this is our compulsion. So if you were to stop it, and you can because you are consciousness, not some mere person. You are consciousness itself. You can, and you can right now. You are already right now open and empty. You don't know what day it is. You don't know what your name is. You don't know what anything is in your head. But headlessly, you are not lost. Can you see the beauty of this? The whole mind trick is to tell you that without all this narrative, you will be lost. But what do you find? Most of you will report that I am at peace. It is the opposite of lost. So this is the root of the trick. So the mind's primary intent is to convince you that you are not enough, and then provide the move that apparently it will bring you to enoughness. But you have to examine the primary intent first. In what way are you not enough for yourself right now? Are you not being enough? Is there something missing in your being? And if your being is all that there is, what more can you want? How can want be a thing for you? How is want a thing for you? That who is all there is. See, so either you do not see that you are all there is, or you see it and yet you accept some fairy tale from the mind. Which one is it? Is it? Okay, let's the two. So mostly, okay, one is also there. Okay. So now tell me anything that you are not. See? Where do you stop? Where do you place a boundary? All your perceptions, where are they perceived? Does the little bit, these minimal sensations that we call the body, do they contain something called you? Who is that you contained in these sensations called the body? There's nobody like that. It is only true in your stories about yourself. It is never true even in your perception. You say this body contains me. But you are as much on this side of that sensation as on that side. Can we see this today? See if a sensation contains you only on one side. Like if you are contained by it, then you would be like this water, isn't it? That the glass is the body, I am the water, I am only on this side of the sensation, I'm not on the outside, I'm only on the inside. Is it like that for you in your experience? Every sensation is contained within you. Every perception is contained within you. Everywhere that your attention can go is only within you. What forces you to draw your boundary around this measly set of sensations? Nothing forces. You see? It's just that you're playing the game of having fallen in love with the mental story in which you are that which is contained in this body, or you are the body itself, whatever the narrative may be. But that narrative was a fairy tale. It's never true. There's not even a fun fairy tale. So there's no reason to keep going back to that. What is your true story? Because as I'm saying all of this, your mind will say, but that my partner is being unfair to me, that is definitely a true story. Now, I don't know about anything, but that is true. You see? So you can, of course, we can laugh at it now, but this is the nonsensical things we tell ourselves, and we get back into the mold of taking ourselves to be the non-existent one again. If there is a story that you believe in about yourself, any story, if there is any story that you believe in about yourself, that story equals garbage. And there is no value in these stories. There's no value judgment about, oh, my love stories are better than my, some money stories are better than my body stories or something. It's all stories, all garbage. You don't have to sort out the garbage and say recyclable, non-recyclable, none of this stuff. Okay? Why are they garbage? Because the protagonist which you take to be true does not exist. And also the representations from that protagonist perspective are all garbage. Tell me see something true about right now, about one moment. Encapsulate this moment in a story. I give you 10,000 words and as much time as you want. You can't do it. Your head cannot encapsulate one moment in time. And a story is about lifetimes. Can you see the absurdity? Am I talking too academically? This is let's make it a live workshop, not a theoretical discourse. Right now, what is this? What is this right now? Can't grasp at it. You can see the nonsense. Like try to say it. What is this right now? One will say this is Satsang with Ananta. One will say Father is talking to us. One will say Father is really ranting today right at the beginning. One will say, what is this guy? He's too absurd. I'm going. One will say this is so nice. I'm getting into Turiya state. You see, all this. So what is the reality of it right now? Those are not compatible. See, either Ananta is really stupid and absurd, or in the presence of satsang, you're feeling a lot of bliss or turiya. So, if it was one consistent thing, if there was a truth that could be encapsulated conceptually, you would all be thinking the same thing. You see, but it's not. Because we cannot capture it really, then we try to say, this is what this is. And why are you compelled to do that by your mind? So that then you can say, okay, this is what I have understood. And therefore now this is what I should do. I should only stay like this. Yes, yes, Father is telling us the truth. Now my only job is to remain or stabilize. But I'm not saying any of that. But we are obsessed with this control. We are obsessed with trying to control. And to control, to determine how things should be and what I should do, you need to first get a diagnostic about what this is. And the only place that diagnostic comes from is your head. You see? So what happens to the building that is built on false foundations? If the base itself, that what is this, is being determined wrongly by your head, then you build a building on top of that, which is your identity. What happens to that? It is all shaky, unstable, also known as suffering. Because the foundation is wrong. You cannot insert what this is into a narrative. We were just playing around the other day, and one of these children, I was saying, the same report that you made, make it on behalf of awareness. Instead of saying, I went, I did this happened to me, they said like this, you see, whatever the report was, instead of that, say awareness, and then continue the story. That is the truth of what you're finding about yourself, isn't it? Are you aware now? Yes. You that is aware is awareness itself. We've gone through this many times and we can repeat this again. But awareness is the discovery you are making about yourself. This awareness is what you are. Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi said, awareness is your true name. So your true name is awareness. All the other names are just made up. So as awareness now, tell me a story about yourself. Did awareness wake up this morning? Awareness did not wake up this morning. Does awareness have a birth? Where will you start your story? What is your birthday? Cannot say. So the truth you cannot represent in any narrative. And because the mind by nature is the narrator, it is hopeless when it comes to the truth. You see? But does your heart need a story? Does your heart have a story? Does your heart need a story? So this constant question in satsang, which means that, Father, yes, I see all this that you're saying. Now what should I do? Can you see the trickery in that? See? I see all that you're saying is the narrative which you're making to conclude about your current state. See? Now you've inserted some future time into your narrative and said, okay, now how do I deal with the future? The present is fine, I'm seeing. All this is nonsense narrative. Who is in this narrative? Who is stuck between this sandwich of time? Who is in this sandwich of time between past and future? Poor thing. All of us are just stuck in this present. It can feel like that. No? Just stuck. Past is gone. I can't meet it. Future is coming. It's coming. What will I do with it? I, poor thing, I'm stuck in this present. See, who is this one? Little over cheese slice. All my metaphors are going to be food related now because intermittent fasting is happening. So, who is this one? Okay? And the worst part is that our determination many times are those which are unavoidable anyway. Like stay in the present. I must stay in the present. Where else can you stay? Can't. So stay in the present only means that don't go on mental adventures about past and future. But where in reality, where can you stay? And present has no other home than you. It's not that you are staying in the present. All that which we are calling present, which is starting with the presence of being, and then that which is appearing on the screen of consciousness, where can that go if you are not there? See? So this, what we call present or presence, is building a home on you. So we have all this upside down. And why is the upside downness happening? Because of our obstinate desire to narrate, to determine a narrative. Because to the mind, it can seem like the absence of narrative is meaninglessness or some sort of nihilistic existence where it is just limbo. I'm fully lost. To the mind, having no up or down is very scary. If there was no up and down, it just vanished. It's very scary to the mind. But for you, that's very natural. To not have a reference point to call me is very scary to your mind. Where am I? Oh, like that. It's the mind's word. You see? But for you, what is your true reference point? Where can you place yourself? Do you have a location? Don't have. So it's time we demolish all this nonsensical reference making. You see? And the slightest reference to the I is the I thought. Okay. Be empty of it. You are empty of it. Live here. You are empty of it right now. You're empty of it. Live here. Don't grasp. Live here, don't grasp. Any problem? Don't grasp. Live here. Headlessly. This is freedom. This is freedom. So, this is tastable, recognizable freedom. Now you may say, but what happened to self-recognition, self-realization? I came here to find myself, to get a darshan of that which is beyond perceivable. See, that's what we're here for. To recognize that which is beyond perception. Now, stay like that, stay like I'm telling you, and tell me if you are just your perceptions. Are you just your perceptions? Who feels like they're just their perceptions? It's clear to you that these perceptions are appearing to you, you are beyond them. Already clear. You are beyond them. That is the non-perceivable experience of the self. Now you want a quality to it, that is stupidity. And to ask for a quality on that which is qualityless, you're looking for something which is beyond gunas, beyond attribute. Now you're saying, but what did I see that I can say that I found it? Now if you saw something, then that would be quality, no? You would make a perception out of it. So stop looking for a super perception. Notice that empty of any position, it is apparent to you that you are not just your perceptions, you are beyond that. What is that which is beyond that? That which is aware of the perception of this hand right now. You see? That is beyond your perceptions, isn't it? Stay with me, maybe I'm going too fast. That which is aware of the perception of this hand is not a perception, isn't it? You see? And yet at the same time, you can confirm that it is you. Nobody can say, no, it's not me, it's my neighbor. It's you that is aware. So that is your non-phenomenal recognition of yourself. As simple as that. Don't convince your mind. You see? And don't let the mind discount this by saying, oh, that. What's the big deal in that? No, no, no. That which you're finding about yourself is not in this universe, does not have time or space. That simplicity that you're finding like that, don't undervalue it because it is so easy to find. See, that's the world's way. See? So that you are beyond all perceptions, and that is apparent to you. When you let go of your narrative, you are free. Finish. That's Satsang. Recognition, that which is aware of this, all these perceptions, and yet cannot be perceived by itself because it's qualityless, and yet fully recognized intuitively, only intuitively, fully recognized. There is nobody who doesn't have this. See, so if you are trying, if you are struggling, if you are failing, or even if you are succeeding, you are using the wrong instrument. See, if you're trying, failing, succeeding, all of these things don't apply to your intuition. See, they only apply to perception, they only apply to mind. With me? So, what you are is clear? Yes or no? Now, only believe the story that applies to this you. Only buy the story that applies to this you. Which story applies? Some of you are gravitating back to the mind saying, but stop it. It's not going to help. You see? And definitely not the same old stuff. Please. It can't be this simple. You see, is that it? I was expecting fireworks. I'm showing you something which is beyond the universe. And you are asking for fireworks? I'm showing you that which is your timeless nature. Cannot lose it. Everything appears within that. And your mind is saying, where's my bliss? This is all value confusion. This is what the mind does. I'm showing you that you're beyond birth and death. That these universes, they come and go for you. I'm showing you that. And you're saying, please, where's my 200 grams of Ananda? At least let's not fall for the same old tricks. Let's have, if there's a new trick, I'm scared to say, I'm happy to hear, but the mind is very primitive in this. That's the same old stuff. Can I stay like this? Can I stay like this? Why is it only in satsang? How many years we'll ask the same question? Are you in satsang? Are you, that you which you're discovering, that one is in satsang? Is there something in satsang, out satsang for that? Are you in this universe? Are you in a room? Are you sitting, standing? Let's talk about that you, no? That you which is so clearly aware of the perception of this hand. Let's talk about that you, because there is no other you. So let's not lie, at least for a little bit of time. Now what's happening to you? Not the made up you, not the one with the story. Right now, you. Right now, you. What is the world to you? What can touch you? What can hurt you? What can affect you? And stop worrying about these small quantities which are meaningless to your reality. And I mean by small quantities, I mean some of you may be experiencing some little bit fear, some of you may be experiencing little bit love, some of you may be experiencing little bit bliss. Let it come. Don't be in opposition to anything. Experience it, but don't value it over yourself. You are discovering that in which the universe is born. You are discovering that in which the universe is born. Now, the mind's nature is to value something very tiny and measly in your creation. And then you take yourself to be tiny along with that. No feeling will ever be bigger than your being. Any feeling can hold your being hostage.
No.
Cannot do it, because then that feeling would be God. If there's a bigger God than being itself, then that we should bow down to. You see, already sounds absurd, isn't it? Not possible. If anger could hold being hostage, then anger should be the greater God. If fear is holding your being hostage, then
है ना है हाँ 10 रुपए का अरे अपना कोट फी दे अंकल
10 रुपए का आनंद है. You see? So look at these things, laugh at them. As long as the mind is a comedian, it's okay. The instant you start to take it seriously, that's where you start to trouble yourself. The mind will say, oh, the fear. You say, the fear? What is fear to you? What is fear to you? What will it shape? Okay, let's look at these main things, main trump cards from the mind, and let's go one by one. Fear, how big can it be? It's really strong, Ananta. The fear is really strong. How strong can it be? How strong can it be? Fully shaky, fully. Everything is shaking. So much fear. Are you shaking because of it? Is your manifest aspect, which is the being, shaking? Or is it just some sensational perceptions within your being itself and your being remains untouched? Which one is it? Let's determine these things today so that at least you force the mind to come up with new tricks. Which one is it?
Stops also. I mean, it shakes, but it also, in your own presence, it
Stops. Nothing is forever. So you see it stopping. So it comes, it shakes, it goes. Now who is affected by it shaking? It's shaking. Okay. Suppose this is like your body and you're shaking because you're coming to self-recognition. It's all wobbly. Now who is shaking? Body shaking means sensations seem to be vibrating in a particular way. Okay, so who is affected by it? Is your being shaking? Is that which is aware even of being shaking? Then who is shaking? Only the story in your, only the character in your story. Then I came to Satsang and I saw myself, and after seeing myself, so much fear came for me. Which me? Same old me. So can we throw this one out? Who can't throw this one out? The fear comes. But the fear is so strong. Can't throw it out? We throw it out or no? Everybody very non-committal. need to make a more powerful imploration. Are you still in fear of fear, is it? Let me not challenge it because I'm saying I'm throwing it out. But what if it comes really strong? Who's strong? Who's scared of this?
Sometimes.
Yeah?
Sometimes.
No, now. Just now. Now. See, now at least meet this fully. And even if you feel like I am scared of this, it's okay. Come up, expose it, and let's look at that together. We can inquire together and say, what will fear shake? Who will fear shake? What is here now which can be shaken up by fear? Okay, so this one gone. This one gone. Fear. Then it can't be that simple. That's another trump card. Can't be that simple. I'm saying click. Before the click, what you are is apparent to you. You see? Or who is aware of the perception of this hand or the perception of this voice? That you. Or are you aware now? Instant pointers. Instant pointers, you can't use your head for it, you can't use any perception for it, and yet the truth is apparent. So let's take, are you aware now? Are you aware now? Yes. You are aware. That you which is aware, are you sure it is you? You're sure it is you. Everybody is sure it is you. You see? So this, now, are you perceiving it? Do you have to think about it to confirm it is you? So that is what the sages are pointed to. That is yourself. Aware of all perceptions, untouched, is perceiving all things, yet itself cannot be perceived, does not have any size, limitation, boundary, cannot be thought about or perceived. It ticks all the boxes. The checklist is ticked. You see? All the checklists for self-recognition is ticked so simply. Now the mind will come and say, can't be that simple. There are yogis, standing on their heads for like hundreds of years, not getting this. What are they doing? So obviously then I must be very stupid. No? That I keep coming every week and pointing everyone to this. But those yogis standing on their heads for hundreds of years must know something. Is it? What is your heart telling you about this? Your heart will confirm instantly that it is this is it. You are it. You are enough. What you're finding is enough. The truth is universal and it is accessible to everyone. You see? So don't buy these stories of 1 in a million, really tough, very rare, all of this. Self-recognition is super easy. It is to let go of these nonsense stories which may seem rare. So when the mind comes and says, can't be that simple. Can't be that simple. It can't, no? Really? Can it? Are you really saying that you have found the self? You, little old you, has found the self. And it's speaking like the whisperer in your head. No, don't be arrogant. If you notice yourself falling for this stuff, you know what to just throw away. Just throw away. This is the doubter's voice. You will find this. You. This is not even your third satsang. How dare you? By the way, I'm not asking anyone to make a claim. Make a claim, I have found it. You see? But actually, to be honest, I would prefer you make that claim than constantly be in this. No, I still have to stabilize. I'm almost there. Father, please throw me off the cliff. This like, finish me off. You see, all this stuff. You're finished. It's all done. Finished. You are aware. You are recognizing that you are aware. You are recognizing that this you is unperceivable. You are recognizing that it's beyond all concepts. Is the same one. There is no other. I know the doubter will say, no, but what Ananta has found is something different. See? You may become shy to expose that, especially when I'm in this kind of mode. So you may become shy to expose that, but somewhere the doubter's voice will come and say, he's been nice to you. What he has found, what Guruji has shown him, you are not yet finding. Please, let's get real. No? That's what the doubter's voice will say. So that's all nonsense. That's all garbage. Throw it away. Everyone recognizes that it is I that is aware of my perception. I am aware. This I is apparent, although it is not perceivable. And you can be in wonder about this. Instead of going to your mind and trying to get yourself a certificate from the mind, you can be in wonder about this, that how do I make this discovery? How are you making this discovery? How are you making it?
Just know you.
Just know it. What is this just know? I suppose I don't buy it. What is this just you?
You
Just
know you. I mean, I don't
how?
know
How?
something
Do you
else.
see it?
No.
Then how do you just? Suppose I'm the mind, okay? Now you are saying, yes, I am aware. The mind is saying, are you aware? You are not. Don't say yes. Don't say. You see? It's saying that. Now I'm playing the mind's voice. I'm saying, how do you know that it is you? Are you seeing something like that? Have you seen this you? I haven't seen it. So are you just thinking it is you? Then what is the basis for this confirmation? Yeah?
I come before you, before the mind.
I come?
Before the mind. You are the mind.
Yes. You come before. But what shows you this I?
Just
This I. What is this just I? So I'm still the mind, okay? Don't worry. What is this I? What is this just I?
it's here. You'll never see it. You'll never know.
What do you mean? I'm very smart. Why can't I see it?
Because you can only perceive your intellectual.
Very good. You can only intellectualize your perception. You can't even perceive. As the mind, you can't even perceive. You can only narrate the perception. You can only subtitle your perception. Judge your perception. So when you doubt yourself, then can you not confirm like this? Instead of going with, can't be that simple, you couldn't have got it, you are not worthy enough, you are not devoted enough.
Actually, you can never doubt yourself.
You can never doubt yourself.
You can only believe the thought, doubt the thought.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm happy to hear these words.
I also think that I is inherent in my being.
Inherent in your being. Is your being inherent in I, or is I inherent in being?
Both are synonymous to it.
Same. And that which is, when you say being, are you talking about lifeness, livingness? What do you mean by being?
Wherever I am,
Yeah.
I feel I am. In conversation, without conversation,
Very good.
I am.
Yes.
It is always inherent in me. You ask me that.
Yes.
That
Yes.
question is described.
Very good. Very good. What are the other trump cards on the mind? Huh?
Making it for
So it's just like, are you aware now? Are you aware now? But you're still aware of that. You see, it makes you fall asleep. Who is aware it makes you fall asleep? Who is there to notice the change in state between waking and sleep? You see? So even that, your awareness is undeniable. Okay? Other you say, who's aware of the perception of this hand? I'm just trying not to fall asleep. You know? But who's noticing even the attempt to try and not fall asleep and the absence of the sense of beingness which we call sleep state? but sorry, I fell asleep. Then for a few minutes I was asleep, then I woke up. What are we saying? That I noticed that even this being dissolved within myself, and then this being emerged again. See? But I noticed all this, but without perception. Beautiful. Beautiful. So please fall asleep. It's okay. It's
When
okay.
you say without perception, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have to see myself.
The absence of being cannot be perceived, isn't it? It is only known intuitively.
Another trump card could be,
Yeah.
for me, is like the presence of fear
Yes.
equates blocking.
Yes.
Like that this means it's
Exactly.
not
This
clear.
means something.
Means it's not clear, or
Yes.
or it's blocks.
Very good. Very good. She says, I may be finding this very simply. I'm paraphrasing a bit. I may be finding this very simply. It may be apparent. But when that sensation comes, which my mind narrates and says it is fear, you see, then it is able to sell me the story that something is still blocked. Something is not done. It's not finished. You see, because the masters, when I hear them, they don't seem to be speaking out of fear. They seem to be just full on. So it tells you the story. Who's that story about?
Body, just sensation.
So that story is about the body. How do you make it about yourself?
Just like it comes with the story usually like an I thought.
Yeah. So when we take the story to apply to I, what do you mean by I thought is that? So when you say, okay, there's a story that there's fear, and then maybe sometimes it expands on the meaning of that there's fear. That means that you're not done, it's not over for you. This kind of idea, you know. And sometimes just to say, oh, there's fear, you conclude because you've concluded many times before like that. So you just need to be convinced that I am feeling fearful. You see, or there's fear that is affecting me. You see? The appearance of fear in itself doesn't mean anything, isn't it? In actuality.
Yeah.
In actuality, when it just appears, it's just like shaking. So, did you stop being the witnessing? Did you stop being? What happened? Let's really deconstruct this one also today. Suppose this is the last satsang. See, I have no such intention like that, don't worry. But suppose, so don't be relieved or worried either way. So suppose that this fear comes. Then
We give it value.
Huh?
We give it value.
we give it value by buying the subtitle about it. You see? And then in that subtitle, it's not just about the fear. If it's just saying, oh, it's vibrating quite well today. It's not like that. It mixes a relationship with the non-existent you. That is a thought. It does the linkage job, no? Between a perception. Me. Yeah, so me is the non-existent you. And unless there is a relationship being formed in the narrative between that which is perceived or imagined and the non-existent me, you will not find that thought relatable. It will just be allowed to come and go. You see? But when it says, I'm your friend, but I'm telling you that because this fear is coming, therefore you are not done yet. You're not doing it fully. You see? Some notion like that. And the relationship is being formed between that vibration and the non-existent me. And the me is only made up of these false relationships. Without these relationships, what is the me? You see? A belief always has two variables, me and something. You see, I like this. I don't like this. I want more of this. This is fair. You see, but we don't just say this is fair. We say, for me, this is fair. Or this is so unfair to me. You see? Or even if you say globally, to the world, because my world. Nobody says, this is so unfair to Jupiter. We are only concerned because it is my world. So the me is inserted in all these beliefs, and the me is made up of just all of these beliefs. See, without this relationship, what identity do we have? You see the whole trick. So perception comes, fear. You see? Or even the river joy. A joy may come and say, "Ah." Then the mind will say, finally, it looks like you got it, man. You got it. You see? Finally, you got it. You see? You see? But remember that the relationship between the perceived joy, expansion, you see, and the me, you see, is still the non-existent one, the same guy. You see? So don't determine either way, because in that determination, you are inventing the non-existent me. Taste everything. Joy comes, taste it. Joy comes, taste it. Nothing is inherently bad to taste, actually. Good or bad is just categories we have made in our head. Taste everything. But don't make relationships. Because relationships, we all know. What else? So the appearance of some so-called good appearances or so-called bad appearances means something about your discovery. That is a trump card which your mind can play, so forget about it. It can't be that simple. It has to be that simple because you are not using traditional instruments. There is no difficulty for intuition. Therefore, it has to be simple. See? It is not that your intuition has to struggle to grasp. It is not that the Sadguru presence says, today I'm having a bit of trouble. Sorry, I can't show you the truth. Today is my vacation day. You see? So that is never something that can happen. So it's never difficult for your intuitive insight, for the Sadguru presence, for the divinity in your heart. It is never difficult. Therefore, it is always that simple. So don't buy the idea. It can't be that simple. Second idea we discussed is it can't be me, because little old me is not good enough. This is the realm of sages. We are talking about Bhagwan, Guruji, Papaji, all these great sages we are talking about. Where little old me? This is a very sort of, you are unworthy, you're not devoted enough, you've not done enough sadhana, you've not inquired enough, this kind of nonsense. So throw all that out. See? All the sages have told us that this is for all of us. It is universal. Only the garbage seems to block our vision. When the garbage is not taken to be true, this truth is apparent universally. So it can't be possible for me, throw that out.
The opposite.
Yeah?
The opposite.
The opposite, that little old me did get it. Yes, thank you. Throw that out also. It is you that you take yourself to be or represent yourself to be cannot get it. Why? It doesn't exist. The non-existent cannot meet the existent. So good, thank you. So throw that out also. Then
I didn't understand.
Huh?
That one.
I didn't understand. You can't understand. God is not a concept for you to understand. The self is not a concept that you will understand. Understood? Only that much needs to be. That much we need to understand. That we cannot understand. It is beyond our understanding. It may hurt our ego to understand this, but please understand this. Nobody is smart enough to fathom God. Please understand this. See? You can understand that you cannot understand. That is your highest understanding. Please understand this. So when the mind comes and says, but you didn't understand, everybody else is nodding, but you didn't understand, admit that it is not possible to understand. You see, truth is impossible to understand, but it is impossible not to intuit. You see? It is impossible for you not to intuit it correctly. So you did not understand it, but you intuit it. Is it? I know it's an unfamiliar word, but it's a useful word because if we say no, then that gets confused with conceptual knowledge. When you leave your head, what you know has to be the truth and truth alone. When you try to squeeze it into your head, it is never going to happen. That's what I'm saying, behind all the fancy words. If you leave your head, you know everything about everything. I promise you. I also promise you that you cannot use it for anything personally. You see, so your mind may say it doesn't help me. It's fine. It's not meant to help the non-existent.
Another chakra could be when I'm sitting still in my room or in satsang, it's clear, apparent, it's easy, but when I'm working and busy, then it's not as apparent.
Not as apparent.
Yeah,
It says it is not as apparent, but actually any time you check, it is apparent. See, in the story, it tells you the story that when you were at work, it was not apparent. But how many moments of work do you actually remember? See? You may say, I had a full day of work. How many moments do you remember? I remember that one moment my boss was shouting at me. It was not apparent. I wanted to strangle him. Yeah? Okay. That hit close to home for many. But so in that moment, what were you? What was your reality? Awareness went away, is it? Just because the body mind plays a certain way doesn't mean that you have lost yourself. See? So stop using the outer activities of this expression as some sort of benchmark for your freedom. Otherwise, all of you will have to move around like this. Bless you. You see? That is how you'll convince yourself that this one must be free. Boss is shouting, bless you, my child. So don't wait for this kind of stuff to happen to then confirm your freedom to yourself. This is both appearing in your realm of perception. You see, both are appearing. We'll talk about Advaita excuses in a moment. I know the opposite of that is also true. So, but for the moment, what I'm saying is this not an appearance like the rest of it? Check for your body. That body is as much an appearance as everything else. So don't make that mistake that everything is an appearance, but this body I control more than that body I control. Okay? That's nonsense. It's actually fine. It's quite nice actually for the moment. It starts raining or something like this. So what happens to many of us in satsang is that we put additional pressure on how this expression should play out, and everything else is Maya, is a Leela. You see? Notice the trump card there? This is under your control. You see? But everything else is just God's will. So this body sits out of God's will, is it? It's absurdity, again from the mind. So all this illogical, absurd stuff the mind offers to us, that the whole universe is Maya, is the Leela, is God's play. Now, what are you going to do? It means, what is this body going to do? Not part of the Leela. Can you notice what I'm saying? Include it in Maya, include it in the Leela. It is very much part of it. So, this, when it comes and says, oh, but if you were free, how are you getting angry? How could you have said this to that one? Is it? I mean, you can't be free. See, the mind judges us in this way. See? That's why God has made every expression of the sage also unique in their own way. He given us every possible expression so that we cannot zero in and say, oh, but a sage has to be like this. Now, we're looking at the opposite ends of both because both ways the mind gets you. You have to remain in neutrality. The other thing that gets us is, I am not doing anything. It's all consciousness. So, yeah, I went, had 20 drinks last night, and I not me, because it's all consciousness. My master has told me. So, either representation that you are the doer or you are not the non-doer. If the reference point is about the non-existent one, don't buy it. See? Because it's very, very rampant in sort of conceptual Advaita to buy into this notion, but I'm not the doer. See? One man who was coming to Guruji, and Guruji pointed very beautifully to him. He had a hiccup along his path. So when he came up on the hot seat, Guruji said, but why can't you inquire into this? He said, but there's nobody here to inquire. Who are you telling to inquire? You inquire. Something, something like that. Of course, then. So, coincidentally, this is the first satsang that I saw when I almost saw. I was watching Guruji. First time I was going to meet him. There's not enough space in the hall, so they put some TVs down under the staircase. So I was watching this, which was happening live upstairs. And this conversation was happening live. And there was no YouTube like that before this. So, so I was watching this on the TV and I said, I'm going to run from here. This is not what they show on YouTube. I'm going to run from here. So, beautiful, beautiful satsang. It's the one where Guruji just pointed out that this is pure arrogance of the mind. Everything else we take ourselves to be a doer. I did this morning, I woke up this morning, I had chai this morning, I did all of that. Oh, but can you ask yourself who you are? No, I'm not the doer. So very convenient sort of non-doership, protecting the ego. So who is the you that is not the doer? That's an important question to ask. Who is the you that is not the doer? Who is that you that is not the doer? If you say that doesn't exist, then why you take yourself to be that? I am not the doer, so I am not the doer. Very, very popular. I say, who is that you that's not the doer? Yes, I know. That doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, why you take yourself to be that? Take yourself to be the existent one.
It's like actually, I am the doer.
Yes.
Feels like what then I'm doing everything, or I'm not the doer, and nothing's happening. It's like
exactly.
But it's just that belief, like I'm just the doer of this.
So most important in that. So you may say actually that I am the doer of all of this as consciousness. See? Or you may say I am the doer of all of this as the ego, like Ravan syndrome, super ego syndrome. See? So the only thing of importance is what are you referring to you yourself as. See? If it is the non-existent one, it is the false. See? You could also say I for the truth and say, but I don't know anything about doing. What is doing? There comes a point where doing, happening, all of these concepts lose their value. You see? And then when people ask you to communicate something, you may say, but nothing has ever happened. You see? So the expression and the words are not really important because it's not going to be logically coherent. You see, you must be able to allow opposites to coexist as long as you can smell where it is coming from. You see, otherwise you can't even be in satsang, no chance. If you're expecting intellectual coherency, you can never be in satsang. So sometimes pointing is like that, sometimes pointing is like this. It all depends on what condition is being chopped. So don't make it an intellectual endeavor. Just make it an intuitive endeavor. And when I say smell, I mean just intuitively get a sense. When I say I'm not the doer or I'm making some sort of Advaita excuses, then am I coming intuitively? And then from the space of pure beingness or pure awareness, you may say, "Oh, I've never done anything. I'm not the doer." That is a different frequency than that sort of like, I'm conscious. Yeah, you can smell it. Sorry, my acting is so bad, but smell the difference. Okay, there's some hands up. Let's go to Peter.
Hello, Father.
Hey there.
Before Satsang today, there was a thought I should just come up and tell you how things are going. Something like this, you know. And it's yes, there was intention to yes, it needs still some vigilance, and there are some. If a seeming problem comes, the pointer is helpful, which you gave us. It's all the master's problem, and things like that. And now, in the light of what you were talking about, I found out that this is also just a story.
Yes.
This is when I'm trying to figure out a report about my spirituality, it's always it's necessarily a story somehow. The only true thing would be to say right now it's just open, empty, or there are no limitations. Right now it's like this.
Yes. Wonderful. That's the first time somebody's clicked at me. I'm so happy. Very good. Very good. That's it. Beautiful report. He said, I wanted to come back and report to Father, and you can. I mean, do that. But really, when we give it so much truth value that this is what's happening with me, can you see the trick now? The whole theme initially in Satsang was this. That the whole trick is to determine what is happening with you so that you can feel this false sense of control to plan the next move and say, okay, so this is what's happening. I need to be more vigilant now. This needs to happen. But the I is the false one.
Yes.
Very.
And but it was a little bit puzzling in the moment is that in every of these reports, it's the false I. It's
Yes. That's why I was saying, try to insert awareness in the report, in the story.
Yeah.
Then report from there. It can sound so absurd. Wonderful. I enjoyed this very much. And you're going to be able to make it here or no? What's happening?
Yes, I'm a little bit planning for November.
Oh.
Yes. And let's hope that COVID doesn't spoil the whole thing, but we'll see.
For the moment, it doesn't seem like. I don't know how it is in Europe, but now, although some numbers are increasing in some places, but most are just treating it like a normal cold. Let's see. We can't predict. Yes. I have been exceptionally bad at predicting COVID, so I'm the predictor.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Jada.
Hello, Father. Wonderful to meet with you again. Cannot see you.
Thank
you.
I see. You have to pin the. Yeah.
Okay, now I can see you. I also just wanted to come, Father, just in front of you, just this. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. How something it is without a story. We can't even say, I don't even want to say happy or peaceful or joyful. Just like in the words of Peter.
It's your words, Father. you taught us this.
Yeah.
Not just taught, you just brought us here. Yeah, just thank you so much.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. I don't feel like nothing left to say. I'm just so happy to be with you here. Thank you for bringing me here. Thank you for everything.
So well.
Yeah.
So well. Okay, let's go to Liam.
Hi, Father. Namaste.
Namaste.
I felt to come up today. I'm feeling very good.
Very
I'm feeling very good.
Good.
I'm not hearing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Can you
Okay.
hear me now?
You're saying I'm feeling very good.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Well, are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes? Good. Yes, I'm feeling very good. Somehow I felt to come up today. I mean, I was feeling to expose something that I feel has been troubling me a little bit this last time. It's as I sometimes see during the weeks, like it appears a kind of worry about the material and like the life, the play of life. So everything you told us just now about the satsang, no, and this thing about the doer and the non-doer was like very specific to this for me. Yes, and I see like it brings like a lot of attention sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't see that necessarily it brings like identification. There is a lot of times that everything is like playing out very smoothly, but sometimes with activity and the feeling of giving too much attention to the things going on and the plans for the future. Sometimes this doubt or some some worry like comes.
Yeah. So in the allowing of everything to come and to go, so without making individualized meaning about that coming or going, that is just freedom. That is freedom. So don't judge yourself in any way because of attention. You said that sometimes attention does go, but there's really no belief or identification. That's fine.
Yes.
Consciousness plays with this lila using its attention. So allow it to play whichever way it wants.
Yes, I see that. I see that it's when
But
some
there's something subtle there, which may be getting converted into some sort of a subtle meaning because it is meaningful enough for you to like expose. So we can drill
Yes.
into that a little bit and say, okay, so what if let's paint a scenario and say, suppose that this feeling which you call worry, is it like some trepidation or worry, just comes, and suppose it was to come all the time, then what would it mean?
I feel it doesn't mean anything by itself. It's like the story I put, yes, the meanings I give in relation to a narrative and a story that I'm playing out.
Yeah. Very good. Then very good. There's no fear about a particular sensation being repeated or life getting oppressed by some sensation. Nothing like that.
No, it's maybe more specific. It's like there are some intentions for the future, like moving from home and this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And in relation to that, I feel that sometimes comes a sort of confusion in this sense of, as you were saying right now, if I'm the doer, I'm not the doer. Like, I always try to come to my intuition in relation to this display, and
now before we go there,
yes,
give me an example of an intention for the future.
Like moving to another house.
So if that intention, something was to happen to that intention, would you suffer because of it, or is it light?
It depends. Maybe it brings some identification. Usually not. I feel I can be open with that, but sometimes that could pull some suffering.
Okay, so every intention that you have which could poke you in some way, you give that to me right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not even joking. Just give it to me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. And if it comes back and picks up some momentum in the future, just give it to me. Yes? It's a deal.
Okay.
Because you can have, just to use English in some way, we can have preferences which make it seem a bit lighter, but sometimes intention can be a heavier word. You see, although we can also say intention, it's okay. It all depends on the heaviness with which we take something. And the measure of heaviness is only that if it was to happen according to God's plan instead of the intention's plan, would we suffer because of that? You see? So if anything is heavy, or have we handed that over to God? You see, and if we haven't yet handed it over, just hand it over in Satsang. Just give it away.
Yes.
So I feel like there was something little bit over there which you were able to unravel and pull out. That's good.
Good. I didn't understand the last sentence. Sorry.
Okay, let me say it in another way. So when we say that we talk about the unborn or the notionless existence, then something like an intentionless existence is a part of that. You see? And yet, in the play of communication, when we are talking to our family and friends, when they say, "What is your plan? You know, are you plan to move your house?" You may say, "Yeah, I have a plan. I'm going to move my house." But that is not troublesome unless if it was not to happen that way, and it was to happen according to God's plan, which is the only plan there is, if there is a plan. You see, then we would not worry about it or suffer from it. You see? Then we are allowed to carry that, you see, just for communication purposes, knowing fully well in our heart that only God's plan will play out, no matter what, how much we propose the plan for this life to be.
Yes.
So if there's a plan like that or an intention like that, which you feel like, oh, no, I really wanted to go like that. You see, please, please, this I know. So we are making a claim to knowledge actually.
Yes.
When we say that we carry a strong intention or a strong preference, we are claiming that I know better what should happen, or my head knows better what should happen in this life. So that is a false claim, and all falsity we must surrender. You see, can we have an intention that life should go only this way without the claim that I know better than God? See, or the mind knows better than God? We cannot. So, therefore, we must give up this falseness.
Yes.
Lightly, mother asks you, "What's your plan?" "Ma, I'm going to shift houses." It's okay. This is okay. So it's not like I don't know because God is planning. The idea is not to worry everyone. You see? The idea is just have this light communication is okay. Just follow your heart in that moment. It is okay. But once it becomes like, please God, it has to go that way because what do you know? I know where my life should go. Then that must be given.
Yes. Maybe the last question is about how to guide oneself in this kind of intentions, or yeah, I feel like intuitively I move like smoothly with these things,
Yes.
but also sometimes like comes the mind like saying like, well, this is taking too long, or this kind of stuff, and there is where identification and the trouble begins. But yeah, but if it's okay to just be open with this moment to moment.
Yes, must be. It's fully okay. It's better than okay. Must be like that. Moment to moment, trust your heart, even if the heart is silent, because that is where the rubber hits the road. Trust your heart even when it is silent. See? What happens is that our mind is saying, do this, you have to decide now. You go to the heart. My father and my heart will guide me. The heart is not saying anything. Nothing, not left, not right, nothing. Not even that everything will be okay, my child. Nothing. Sometimes like that. Many times guidance doesn't come, but at least the reassurance comes from the heart. It's okay, like that. But often, even that reassurance doesn't come. It's just, that's when we really have to trust. Trust the silence, because the silence is also guidance. The silence is also guidance. So trust it no matter what, even when it is silent, especially when it is silent. Very good. Thank you. Let's go to Joanna.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. It was all fine, as in, yeah. But it's even still,
Yeah.
it's persistent, like niggling of something earlier, like some doubt in myself, like about the story, has nothing to do with like just what is. And it just seems to like ruin everything. I don't know if I'm even wording everything how I would have done it, just coming out like this. It's frustrated, maybe.
When we
How doubt still.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. So one of my master keys is to describe and not explain. Just describe what is happening right now instead of explaining what is happening.
Okay. Just a feeling, a thought.
Slowly, as slow as possible, as slowly as possible. So there's a feeling. Zero into that feeling, completely zero in. How big is that feeling?
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
It looks
But also
like when you put it like that, it seems very tiny, the feeling.
But it's not letting
Keep describing, don't explain anything. So there's a tiny feeling in your head. Then what is?
reminding through words of,
Tell me what it is saying.
no, I can't say.
So then it is not there.
It's too horrible.
Oh, I see. Okay, just send me a private message. Yeah. So very, very what, violent, or is it very what? What is the theme?
Yeah, just hard to look at image. If this is what stops me from coming up as well, because it's like, oh, you'll have to explain, and so therefore it stops me from coming to speak.
So
I see it. Yeah.
when you look at everything as it is, and that can seem a bit difficult, but it will give you so much space, so much relief from all of this. You see? Because what happens is there's a beautiful garden. Right? In the garden, the mind says, there is that insect which spoils everything, every time. Okay? This is the mind narrative. You see? And actually, there is not even an insect. Everything is part of the garden itself. So when I say just describe, we are able to see there's a tiny feeling, as irritating as it may seem, tiny feeling. But the trouble is what? The trouble is the thought which is saying something. You know? And then it is saying, don't expose that because that's horrible. What are people going to think about you?
Mm.
You see, if you expose, but you are not creating that thought is arising, isn't it? It is arising.
Yeah, but it goes worse still.
Okay.
Not only is it just an image you're witnessing or a thought, but it's that I'm engaging with it in some way, that I like the thought or I believe the thought or I've engaged with it. And it's happened so many times and it happens over and over again. And yet somehow still, how it still has some pull to make me like this still. It's
Yes. Now,
really frustrating.
good. It's good you're getting all this out firstly. It's good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone.
No, very good. No, it's very good. Very good. I mean it fully when I'm saying it's very good. So what it is saying is that now what is even worse is that you're even believing these thoughts. Right? Now it is even worse that you are believing these thoughts. You see? And you heard in Satsang for years that you should not believe these thoughts. Isn't it? Isn't it? So are these not thoughts that you're believing?
Yeah, but it's, I don't know, it's some fear that
Now
I'd act.
these thoughts are claiming to be true about you.
Mm.
And these thoughts are giving you even more trouble than the original thoughts which you are apparently believing.
Yeah.
So first, don't believe these thoughts. That I'm hopeless because I'm still believing these thoughts. You see, this is what I call the 1-2 punch of the mind, which uses the spirituality itself against you to oppress you. See? So the one punch is a vicious sounding thought. And I'm sure it's not terrible, but it'll convince you that it is terrible. So you believe that. See? Then it comes and says with a 2 punch that look at you, you're so hopeless. You're not getting anywhere. No point coming to satsang because you're still believing your thoughts. Now this is also a thought, but this is the knockout punch. See? It is the thoughts about the thoughts which are now grabbing you because the mind is smart enough to know, because in satsang you hear don't believe your thoughts. You see? Now I'm going to use that itself to trouble you. See? Look at you, still believing thoughts. Hopeless. No, this is how it sounds. You see? Now without this thought, what are you?
Well, as you were like speaking before, it's just beautiful. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
Not.
Yes, but what are you?
Aware of that irritating doubt, which is ruining being able to, if I'm honest, to stay as that, to stay there, to just be myself, because there's still like maybe I'm not pure in some way, or there's some like I'm some horrible thing.
Yeah. Now there's so many versions of you in that one before. Let's go through this. The first one was the one that is aware. The first one was the one that is aware. Now, are you aware right now? In spite of all this, are you aware?
Yeah, I'd rather not be. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. So that one which is aware, tell me about that one. Because I know on your behalf and as a full fact that there is no other one. You see? So tell me about the true one. The one that is aware. What's happened to that one?
Nothing.
Nothing. So who are you crying about? Not that it's bad to cry. It's good. It's okay to cry.
Yeah, I cry so much.
Who is the one that you're upset about?
Oh, because just I was aware in these moments too. I was keep with your breath, keep with your breath, and then it was making the comments, keep with your breath. And then at some point during that, it's like, I don't know if it's the horror that something could be true. Like, what if it ever was and you became unconscious and you done something awful? Or, oh, but what if I actually just did?
Yeah.
But then it's always the same at the end. I don't know. I'm never sure.
Yeah. And who is this one that's not sure? You see? So what is happening is that the false one is also trying to participate in your spiritual party. See? And the path towards progress and growth and all of this stuff. And then it is just the trickster. The trickster says, you were going so well. And now look at you. You see, who should you look at when it says look at you? The body or the one that is aware? What if every time we were to make a judgment about ourselves, anytime we were to make an evaluation about ourselves, we make a true evaluation on the true one? What if life was like that? I said, look at you now. I say, okay. Oh, pure awareness itself. Is it too utopian what I'm saying? Is it too utopian? Look at you. You are going so well. Oh, let's look. Pure awareness. No well, no bad. Then the mind's oppressive judgmental tool can be flipped around. No, it will stop saying look at you. Because it doesn't want you to inquire. It just wants you to presume. It will mean.
Write this. Only believe the story that belongs to you, not the mine.
Yeah.
Didn't you? That was nice. Yeah.
Yes. So now only believe the story that belongs to you, not the mind. Tell me what that story is.
It's this thought, this worthiness that someone deserves or not.
The true, can you be worthy or unworthy?
Doesn't apply.
Not applicable. Wonderful.
But it catches, and then that's what
does it?
Someone has to go back and check, and then going back to check is actually the thing you don't want to do, but you feel like you need to investigate, and then it's another horror, and then another. It's a loop.
In all of this process, what is happening to you? There's a bit of mixing still happening. You can notice it. No? You can notice it that It's becoming clear that you are aware, that you are this awareness is becoming apparent. See?
Yeah.
The other mind comes and tells you, but it's not always like that. You know, these things still get you. And you have to then go through a process. What kind of freedom is that? Yeah. But there's a difference in the first representation and the second representation. In the first representation, you are discovering that you are just this awareness. In the second representation, you are being made to believe that you are the body mind again. So only believe the story which is true about you, not from the mind. Let's try again. What's true about you, my dear? If it is true, it must always be true. See? That is one more tip for all of you. If it is true, it must always be true. That which comes and goes is not true. It's lies. What's true about you? Where can we go, firstly? Like, I ask all of you this question. Tell me something true about you. Where can you go for that answer?
Not the mind.
Not the mind.
That's for sure.
That's it. That's it. That's the end of suffering. And that simple answer is the end of suffering. The minute you go for a self-evaluation from the mind, then you're taking yourself to be that one, which is the troublemaker itself. It's like sending the invitation, you see, to the one who's going to mess up your house and then saying, why is my house in such a mess? So to go for a representation to that which can never represent you well, see, only represent you as the false one, is to invite suffering.
There's nothing to say here that doesn't feel bad at all.
Yes. And even if there was a feeling that we call bad, you see, then does that affect you in your reality, or what happens? Like, is there an inherently bad feeling? Let's solve that first. A feeling, a category of feelings which is inherently good, and a category of feelings which are inherently bad. You see, has God done this disservice to God, saying it is going to undergo like some bad stuff when it is playing with this world? What would bad have to be really bad? Like, would substantively do something to being, isn't it? Something had to appear which can tangibly do something to the being itself where it appears for it to be inherently bad, isn't it? Can any feeling do that? To put it very simply, can anything appear that can hurt you? So then what can be good or bad? It's all the mind's play of I want this and I don't want this.
Because someone can say it's not nice or this, that, and the other, but then if we're not taking any of that to be what we are, then you can see this one and it's not.
And do you have the power as consciousness to take yourself to be what you're not, and therefore have the power to not take yourself to be that which you're not?
Yes. It's not about being brave or
Yes.
respecting yourself or loving yourself. But maybe that can have its place as well, I guess, in some.
That can come automatically as a byproduct.
Yeah.
These are the usual byproducts, but we don't have to do something for that. You see, love, peace, joy, all of these are there to serve you, to serve the true you. You see, but we don't have to chase them, because the minute we chase them, we're representing ourselves not as their master, but as their slave.
They're already here.
Already here. You see? But you are beyond, like, I don't want to say beyond caring, because that sounds a bit strange, but you actually, your reality. You see? It's like saying, oh, do I have to make sure my shadow is always there? It's always there. You don't have to check on it. See, the minute you check on it, it means that it means something that could go away and then can make you fearful about it. Consciousness is doing its job fully well, and it's that those forces which are meant to be in its service are always going to be there. You don't have to worry about any of this. God's kingdom is always perfect, except in the narratives. If you had no idea about how you should be or how you should not be, then how would you trouble yourself? Fear comes. God's gift. Anger comes. God's gift. Joy comes. God's gift. Bliss comes. God's gift. Everything is God's gift to God. If we stop planning the moves, if we stop asking for something over something else as if we know what is better, then we couldn't trouble ourselves at all. We're not to run scared from anything that can appear here, because in our reality we cannot be hurt in any way. So what happens? Grief will come. What is the worst case scenario? Grief will come. So isn't grief also sweet in some way? Isn't there a sweetness to the taste of grief when it is not met with the mind through the lens of the mind? Fear will come, anger will come, lust will come, all this will come. So it doesn't hurt our reality in any way. It only hurts a construct called the self-image. We made a category saying, this is what my set of experiences should be like. Nothing else allowed. You see? So there should only be Miss Joy, Mr. Gratitude, Miss Ananda, all this stuff should be there. Anytime somebody else wants to enter, knock, 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 there's some grief. No, you can't come. You're not allowed, because I'm spiritual now. But who's sending that? Who's creating that? For who is it made? All the tastes are made by God for God to taste. So just be open, allow everything to come. Be empty of judgments. Be open, allowing all perceptions to come. And be empty of any judgment.
Sometimes, sorry, just
no, please.
When you speak, it triggers, and like an image might come, and then the reaction sometimes is to be like this.
Yeah, so be like that.
Yeah.
Be like that. Don't say anything is bad. Just reaction comes, being like that comes, all is witnessed by you. Nothing is happening to you. You see? Don't have this idea that freedom looks a certain way. We were joking about this earlier. If I was really free, I'd just be like, Shanti, 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 Shanti.
But is that some kind of fear? Is it not like a fear?
You don't have to diagnose anything. Just don't know anything. Just become really stupid about everything. What is this? What is this? What is that? What is this and what is that? If I was to do this at work or something, first they'll say I'm crazy, but so after that, if they get over that, they will try to decipher it. They say, what you're trying to say with this is something. Because we hate feeling stupid. We want to know everything in the mind. We want to translate everything. So which one is good and which one is bad? Left is good or right is good? Huh? I gave you the answer first. You see the nature, still something is tempting. So don't determine the nature of anything. You'll be just fine. And don't determine whether you allow me to say you'll be just fine. You don't say I'll be fine or not. Then the mind is fully uprooted. There's no legs to stand on because its whole nature is to determine the nature of things. And if you were to honestly audit your mind and ask, what do you really know? Really? Like you could bet your life on it. What would you really know? In your head. Tell me one thing. Nothing. Even that we don't know. And that is not bad news, it is freedom. The best weighing scale on the market. Best weighing scale on the market. Can it tell me the distance between Bangalore and Delhi? Does that mean it's a not good, it's a terrible weighing scale? Suppose you had the best mind in the universe. Your best mind cannot determine the nature of God. So stop forcing it. It's not going to get anywhere. And it seems to block your true insight. It seems to. Headlessly, what is wrong? What is missing? Is it not apparent who you are? Without your head, does it feel like you're just a perception, like this body? Without your head, are you just this body? It is apparent you're not. You are that which is witnessing all of these perceptions. It is so simple, so apparent, so clear. Then what is all this chasing for? What is it going to take to keep the weighing scale down? How many satsang? The thing is that even in the words of satsang, you may be adding parameters to the weighing scale. How open am I? How many thoughts am I believing? All this. It's not that. Just leave it. Leave it. But why does it look like you have a butt?
No.
No? Good. What if fear comes?
Mm.
Who can fear her? The biggest fear in the universe. Suppose there's a delivery marked out towards you. What is the delivery service in UK? Get it? Is it get it? Huh? Royal Mail, Royal Mail. Okay, Royal Mail package with the biggest fear, biggest quantity of fear ever seen. With your name on it. Royal Mail is sending it. So, what does that mean for you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Very, very. Don't solve it with your head, my child. Don't solve it. Don't even try to confirm anything. Just leave.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Let's go to Adelina.
Hello, Father.
Hello. Hello.
Good to see you.
Same.
Now, my question or my request for guidance is about some stale energies, and what I have tried to do is not to interpret them or try to fix them in any sort of way.
How do you know they're stale?
Oh, can you repeat the question?
How do you know that they are stale? Did they have a manufacturing date on them?
I don't know if stale is the right word. It's like I try not to put a.
How do you know that they are bad?
It's like, okay, my mind is going to categorize them as like depressed type of energy, or I don't know.
Just see it for yourself now. If it is there now, tell me.
It's not. It went away when the satsang started. But there is some sort of investment from here and attachment, and I knew it's going to go away. So I was even waiting for the satsang to start. So they don't resist in your light.
Suppose that things by themselves were inherently good or bad. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Who could they hurt? Like, who doesn't want them?
There is no one to be hurt.
Okay. The end. But
Next time I'll raise my hand up first.
was I going easier with the ones earlier? Was I more indulgent with the ones who came earlier? Was it like that?
No. It's more like when it's there, I can say something and we can work with it and you can help me inquire. But now because it's not there.
This is the whole reason why I have the monologue mostly in the beginning.
I know. I don't know. Okay. How can one be vigilant about their own thoughts during sleep?
Okay, tell me what is it that the sages must have seen? What is it the sages must have seen that they keep saying, give me everything? You see? If there is something inherently bad, then they must be really stupid to say, give me everything. No? Because who wants to feel bad all the time?
How do I see like you see when I go into these states?
Yeah, that's what I'm showing you throughout Satsang.
I know. I'm trying, but sometimes
One important tool is to, what I was just saying, just describe, don't explain.
true. This is what I try to practice.
This is it. When you just describe, you will see nothing is inherently bad or good. Nothing is fresh or stale. It is only in the narrative that it creates past and future.
And I'm grateful I raised my hand.
One master key I want to give you is that return to your innocence where you don't know anything about anything. Before you eat the apple of knowledge. And remain like that even after Satsang.
Amen. Thank you.
Let's go to Sanji. Hello. I don't hear you, my dear. Are you saying something, Sanji?
Now it's good?
Yes.
Okay. I think I just wanted to come up in front of you today. I haven't paid much attention to what you've been saying, but still, I mean, something is coming in. And yeah, I think I've been trying to figure out in my mind a lot what's happening with some situation in my life and some relationships, a lot of like just storytelling.
Yeah.
Usually
some relationship and all of that. That's one of the favorite topics.
Yes. And it's been triggering a lot of things inside. And there's just a feeling to say that I don't want to protect anything. And yeah. So I give it all to you. And
it's the best gift. Best gift. Yes. I want to say also that it's very well spotted because as we are trying to squeeze out answers in our head about everything in life, see, most of us have become so habituated to that we don't realize that it's a flawed process. So to be able to spot that I've been trying to figure out things, you see, is very good. It's very good. That's very good. So when you spot it, just drop it.
Okay.
When you don't spot it, then you have to play out that way for some time. But now after doing satsang, there'll be moments where you spot it. This is some craziness, happening in the world. And I'm trying to squeeze all of that into my head and try to find some rationality, some answers, some resolution, some fixing happening through my head. You see? And most of the world is addicted to that. At least after coming to Satsang, we can see, oh, this is what I'm going to do. You see, the world is fixing. We are trying to say, oh, this move means this, that move means that, this is it. So I've understood. And the minute we conclude nonsense like this that I've understood, the world starts dancing in a different way. Shiva starts dancing the dance in a different way. Yes. So then we say, oh, this move changed. It's like this. You see? So that is making us tired. And we're doing this because we are fearful about not knowing what to do next. Why do we want to figure out this dance? Not that we are some great scientists. You see? Not that we are some great scientists, so we are that curious, how does this world work? We only want it so that we can make use of it. Take advantage of our understanding and plan our next move. You see? Now you're discovering that the head is too small to fathom this world, to fathom God, to fathom any truth. You see? So from moment to moment, you're starting to see that this is what I'm trying to do. So that is good. To spot that is good.
Thank you. And I know I already have, but I just want to ask for your blessing to drop, because sometimes it's very strong.
You know, this blessing I give unhesitatingly, because you cannot carry actually. The moment is dropping it for you. Carry something now. Carry. What's your name? Right now, before the click, what's your name? What's your name? Huh? Who's the guy giving you trouble or girl giving you trouble? Who's it? Who's it? Before the click. Nothing, all gone. So the dropping happens inherently. You see? Inherently.
Yes.
See, it's the mind that has to work hard every time. This is what's happening to you, but don't forget, okay, this is what's troubling you. But you forget, every moment you forget. It's the poor mind which has to come and say this, and then gone. Yeah, and even if it seemingly succeeds, reminding you of the story hundreds of times in a day and giving you this memory that you're going through a rough time. You see, when you go to sleep, all forgot. It just can't win. The ego just can't win. It's hopeless. So you're already on the winning side. There's no trouble.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to Salar.
Thank you. Thank you. I had something I wanted to say before, but I don't know if it's still so live. So kind of.
Speak from your heart. Don't worry about what you're believing. And if there's silence, trust that silence also. That's the whole encapsulation of satsang in 30 seconds.
I can say, excuse me. I can say for myself, it's like there's a lot of the time. There's, like you said earlier in the beginning, like there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of things about failure. That's like a big thing, like spiritual failure and like the thoughts come like while I'm listening, or I'm just by myself, like, oh, like you're not doing this correctly, you're failing, like look at all this stuff you have. And yeah, this happens strongly and very, very, very often. Yeah.
So there are two moves. No? Satsang is all about these two moves. When some false representation about yourself is happening, you can either inquire into it and say, who is this about? Who is failing? Who is not worthy? Who is not good enough? Who is not getting it? You see? Or you can just give it to me. Whatever seems more natural at the moment, you can do that.
It feels like giving it to you. It's more natural right now.
Give it. That's what I'm here for. And all these elephants I'm carrying, they can carry all the load. Each one is for one of you. Whatever you are carrying. Yeah, so this is the Salar one. You don't need to carry any of them. But remember that you're not just giving up the experience of it, the concepts of it, the doership about it, but also the experiencership about it. Everything. Who is doing, who is experiencing, what it means, when it happened, what should happen now, everything. Not just piecemeal, not just, okay, I want to give up the fear and the anger and, but I want to keep the lust, I want to keep the joy, I want to keep the bliss, you see, I want to keep that. So everything is then my problem, and it's for me to experience. It's none of your business. And then what happens when you make everything none of your business? Then this you itself dissolves. If everything is only my business, then only I exist.
I must give the doubt also, right?
Definitely.
Doubt or
I don't want to leave you with empty except as a doubting Thomas. Everything. Half surrender is not surrender at all. It's just a convenience. Surrender everything, especially that which you think you value. It cannot just be a convenient surrender. It'll be nice if, Ananta can take the bad stuff. Then I'll be left with just the good stuff. Who wouldn't want that? But then everything should be my problem. Become fully empty.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Laurence.
Hey,
Hey.
Ananta-ji.
Hello.
Oh, so nice. Yeah, lots of joy. there has been during this satsang many impulses to raise hand.
Yes,
Because,
yes.
because mostly it's about stories,
Yeah.
and but actually it came with grief and yeah, because I know you love, you say mostly you love about stories and relationships, and
I love okay, let's go with that version. I need to look at what I've been saying actually.
yeah, so you said something like that. Well, just to say, because I've been watching 2 movies.
Yes, I love these kind of things.
Yes, and really, there's so much gratefulness because the new, how to say, the new way things are looked at now is so those 2 movies. One is about Hawkins. Do you know this scientist?
Yes.
He had Charcot disease, and he's still alive actually. And the movie is called a Wonderful Brief Story About Time.
Yeah.
And wow, this is so enlightening to listen to what is said and what is because actually his thing was to try to find the one equation that would
the unified theory.
So
The unified theory which could explain everything.
Yes, the entire universe. With this very interesting thing that he didn't believe in God, but he got married to this woman who was really, and it's so rich when you look at that and the way.
I haven't seen this one yet. I'm going to see this now.
It's a beautiful one, and then there is this other one, which is a science fiction one, Zoe. It's called, about artificial intelligence, and wow. Looking at this, the idea of that, have you heard of that? Zoe, it's on Netflix. It's then the project there in artificial intelligence is to improve relationships.
Oh, I see. If there's anything that can do it, it has to be artificial.
I would love to share more, but if I share more, then I spoil it for you.
No spoilers.
But listening to the dialogues as consciousness, and some bosses, oh my God. so either the anyway. So
the Zoe and the movie about Stephen Hawking.
The movie about Stephen Hawking is the Wonderful Story of Time or something like that.
Because he wrote these books, Brief History of Time.
Yes, that and we see him in the film, but I think it's called The Wonderful. I'll check and I'll send it to the group if it's not that. It's something like that. And yeah, so it felt very. There was this urge to share that because it's so interesting to.
Yes. Actually, we also have a list of movies which are very much like Satsang. We have it somewhere, maybe in the Heart Altar on Facebook.
Oh, really?
I visited Facebook for many days, but I'm sure we can find it and post it again. We do keep posting it on the WhatsApp groups.
Oh yes, because it's so enjoyable.
Maybe it's time to update that list of these like movies.
I'd love your feedback about what you perceive is, because especially Zoe. I mean, I was wow. And before it would have been looked at how awful, and then it was like when you listen to what is said, what is conveyed. I mean, it's the same as looking at life unfolding now. It's there's always this. I know there's no one who is amazed, but there's wow. Whether it comes in blissful moments or not so nice moments or whatever, but when at some point there is like revealed something, I don't know. Yeah. And talking about relationship, the other something very how to put that now. it's got to do with Christ. It's got to do because how to put this? There was this it was being observed that the relationship of the disciple to Guruji was there was this tremendous moments of love, and it was always related with Christ. And whenever he words of the Bible come, and what hadn't been seen is that and there was a lot of joy coming with this, but this joy was also linked to, and there was this of course, there are these past lives, and they were very much aware of these past lives with Christ 2,000 years ago. And as this one was sitting, at some point it came, grief. But this is a memory. And what is the essence of a memory? And it really came with I can't really express. It's like it maintained Christ consciousness outside. It maintained Guruji as outside. So hard to, outside. And can't really express what happened.
After spotting it, was this just conceptual barrier then dropped?
Yes.
Yes, that's it.
But it was really grieving. There was so many tears. It was really grieving for it. It's so weird. I mean,
there's nothing which is not weird.
There's nothing what?
Which is not weird.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you can get, I mean, this identification can come in such subtle ways of things very, because
Frozen for everyone? Or? You can't hear. It got disconnected. Okay, we'll see if she comes back. Let's go to last one, Satyam.
Hello, Ananta-ji. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. We just, I've not really had nothing. There's so much going on from so many different perspectives. So to say something really significant, I'm not able to, because it's all happening all at once.
Yeah.
To say something really significant, I don't find anything, because there's these pointers are just floating all over the place from your pointers and from Mujiji's pointers, and so really don't. But there's a yearning to for I can't even say for what, because there's a sense that which is you can't really get it. Is not to the mind can't get it.
Yes.
The pointer which is coming right now, all that I can say is now. What is coming now?
To understand. Stop trying to understand. And don't even try to find a pointer, nothing. Headless. Now report from there.
There's really nothing to report really from there.
It's very beautiful because right now there are temple bells. Such a beautiful movie is playing out in front of you. But when we are lost trying to find meaning or relevance or value in our heads, we're missing this beautiful creation of God. Nothing right now is troubling you. Nothing right now can trouble you. Except if you have an image about ourselves, if you have a story about ourselves, then that can get poked. And what beautiful grace it is that that does get poked. Because if that didn't get poked, then ego would be eternal.
Yeah. There's a what you were saying, but not up here, but it's making sense. I don't know where it's making sense, but it's can't be. This is not a place really, but it's just here.
That's why it's heart-to-heart conversation. It's actually coming from your own heart, from your own presence, to remind you that this divinity, this intuitive insight, this Sadguru presence is always with you. You just need to turn towards it in some metaphorical way of speaking. It's just when we stop to understand, stop to construct our theory of what is happening and what should happen, then this becomes so clear and apparent.
Yeah. I mean, these pointers are, if they are, sometimes I think that they are just part of grace, that they come and remind, like what comes now is like I've heard so many times, and something feels so nice to hear it through Muji's mouth, which is like that which is.
Let's pause. Now, something gets mixed, and that's just like a fear we have, because we need to find some representation of what's happening, to be able to determine what is happening to me, to us, what is happening here. So don't fall for that mixing. Allow yourself to be all heart. Allow yourself to be all heart. Nothing will go wrong. Don't worry. Don't understand. Don't be scared of being stupid. Don't understand.
Yeah.
Don't determine the nature of anything. Because your determinations of the nature of something will just create a boundary around your own self. Nothing is what you think. So don't worry about what anything is. It is already known fully in your heart. I've been saying, I don't know whether I said in the broadcast, that either you know everything fully or you know nothing at all. Don't grasp at piecemeal things, because that is the nature of the mind, to give you this little bit of fodder from time to time, saying this is how this is how that is, this is what you are, this is what you are not. Don't grasp. Either know everything right now, everything about everything in time and space and beyond, or know nothing at all.
The mind is, it's always this changing, trying to control the circumstances.
Even the mind's report about the mind itself, don't know. Because that's also piecemeal knowledge. Either eat the whole pizza or don't eat at all. Don't pick up a piece. Don't pick up a fly.
Yeah.
Gulp it at one shot. Huh? Follow the whole universe. Swallow the whole universe and what you are. See?
Yeah.
Or forget about it.
Yeah.
There's an aspect of your own self where every knowledge about everything is present. The only seeming problem of that aspect is that you can't use it personally.
Yeah. And that's exactly what the mind does. It so
use this. Use your insights about the pristine truth to try to make it applicable to the non-existent person. And that is what this is called, the piecemeal knowledge that I'm talking about. The slice of the pizza which we are trying to eat. But that makes it just so limited and gives us the idea that I am a limited being. So forget about that. In your heart, fully everything is known. The universe is nothing but a tiny, minor appearance for you. And everything which seems so mysterious and unfathomable is fully clear to you in your heart. See? So the struggling mind can keep dancing. You don't worry about it.
I can relate to what you're saying, every word, because it's like saying something is saying how this can be useful for me.
Exactly.
This is it wants to use this nectar for its own to make circumstances.
Yeah. Losing audio.
How to stop that?
Just headless.
They're just tears.
It's very good. Just tears is very beautiful.
This really can't be understood. It can't be understood.
Yeah. You can only understand that. Understand that it can be understood. That's good enough. See, if understanding, conceptual understanding was all that you had, if conceptual understanding was all that you had, then all of us would try to squeeze everything into your conceptual understanding. But because you are the ocean and not this drop of understanding, we don't need to worry about how much we have understood. We will let go of this drop, of reliance on this drop for some true understanding, to meet that which is the storehouse of all intelligence, all knowledge. The self and that which emerges from the self is fully known in your heart. You see, so why lament that this little drop is not getting it? You are the ocean itself. You are not that drop. Otherwise, we go on using this weighing scale to measure distance. It's not going to work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just giving in.
मेरे करुणामये सिरकर हमारे श्री राधे
As if not internet.
मेरे करुणामये सिर
Is it? You take the towel off.
Yeah. No, it's the speed.
मेरे करुणामये सिरकर हमारे श्री राधे मेरे करुणामये सिरकर हमारे श्री राधे श्री राधे जय श्याम 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 राधे
It's like my computer also needs a break. You want to say something?
The people?
That's it.
Yeah. I've seen everyone in so long. It's so cool.
Thank you for the air that I can breathe. Thank you for the songs you're giving me. Thank you for the times I couldn't see. Now we're free. Thank you for the simple life I know. Thank you for the pain of letting go. Thank you for the times I felt too long. Now we're home. I don't wanna waste, I won't give up. I don't wanna taste, I've had enough. Everybody knows there's only love. There's only love now. Thank you for this holy family. Thank you, my beloved Guruji. Thank you for this peace and harmony. Let it be. Thank you for my son, you saved his life. Thank you for the suffering and strife. Thank you for the times I couldn't fight in your life. I don't wanna waste, I won't give up. I don't wanna taste, I've had enough. Everybody knows there's only love. There's only love now. I don't wanna waste, I won't give up. I don't wanna taste, I've had enough. Everybody knows there's only love. There's only love now.
Can I see them?
Yeah, go to the gallery view.
How do I do that? I don't know this. Gallery. Oh my gosh. These are my people. No, these are my people. This is the view I'm used to. Oh. Amba's coming soon. Amba's coming soon. Okay. Falafel. Oh my gosh. This is so cool. Georgie, you want to see? Georgie.
This is our family on the other side of the street.
Georgie. Look.
Look. There's some.
See?
The zoomies. The zoomies.
Oh, isn't that cool? Aniko, she's gonna come to India soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Decided.
Oh yeah.
Some new face. I think Peter's coming. Oh, look at Anna. Anna. She's waving. So cool. I don't want to hog the video of other people. Shraddha.
Prahash is there. What is Prahash doing?
Prahash. Who else is on there? Emma, Seppi,
Gustavo from
Etienne,
Argentina. Doesn't join his camera.
Amba,
He's Etienne. Lawrence.
Lawrence. Is she in Portugal?
I don't know.
Ask her. Where is she?
Lawrence.
Are you in Portugal? She doesn't know we're talking to her. Or maybe you have to unmute her. There she is.
Yes, hello. Yes, I am.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Beautiful. I'm in Little Sahaja. In Little Sahaja. Yes. Beautiful.
Oh, there's no one else.
There's more. They just have their cameras on.
No camera.
Sanji. You know, Sanji does interpreting.
Yeah. No one.
French
Sanjay.
or Italian?
No.
French. She translates for Guruji's satsangs. BP. Gopal.
You know, I was just going to say, Gopala may be there.
He is there.
I was just going to say that.
Where's Adrian? And Sylvia, she's going to Portugal. She's going to Portugal. Thank you.
There's a world out there.
No, this is like, it's my family, you know? This is what I knew for like 2 years before I got here, you know? It really.
She's in Gem Wellington prison.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Sadhguru Shri Ananta-Part ki Jai. Guru Kripa Keval.